Okay, hello. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the stream. It's Odin Auckland, and happy Saturday to everyone. Anyone who's been here before, we've been working on these horses for my Knights of the White Wolf for the Warhammer Fantasy battles for a while now, and we're continuing on the armor for them. Kind of a slow progress because I'm working on 10 of them at once, but getting the horses painted up first, and then we're going to be working on the knights themselves. So right now we have the red coat on the armor, so we're going to do just little bits of highlighting across all of them, and then hopefully start cleaning up some of this messiness from the base coat and start working on some of the details. Probably won't get too far today, but yep, that's where we're at. So I'll get started. I think, let's see. Took quite a bit to get here. I know it was kind of a little bit of experimental. I'd see someone do the technique before, but I hadn't done it myself. But we basically did a gold base coat underneath and highlighted it up to the point of like with bright silver at certain points, and did a little bit of shading on some of the darker areas, and then we tinted it using a contrast paint to kind of give it this red but still like a metallic finish. So it turned out pretty well, but it took quite a bit of streams to get here. So let's try to find the paint I'm looking for now. Sorry if I block the screen temporarily at all, but I'm gonna just do a light edge highlight using Canoptic Alloy. Pop open my wet palette, get everything going on there. Hey, how's it going? Theta Coman, the Taco Man. There we go. Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to read the new username, but not too bad. Just trying to have a kind of a chill Saturday. New paint, that up. Hope things have been going well for you. Definitely kind of a liquidy paint, so should go pretty smooth. Nice, good to hear. I know you were juggling between supporting a lot of different streamers, and then you had real life stuff to attend to and all that fun stuff, but I try to make sure I don't get too many shadows and too much blocking in the way, but I'm gonna add some little bits of edge highlights. Nice, that's good to hear. I'm glad you're managing it. It is wild how crazy schedules can get when you're just trying to, you have the enthusiasm for it, but then time and energy and just life starts getting to be a pain sometimes. Ooh, that thick. This is gonna eventually be tinted as well. It's not gonna be as bright. It's gonna be tied together. Trying to catch the edges. All right, stay in focus with this. Yeah, when I was there's a point in time where I was doing a lot of freelance programming work, and I was juggling like multiple projects at a time, and you know, pulling lots of late nights trying to get bunches of code written and having to do calls and meetings and stuff, and it can definitely get overwhelming at times. I'm just trying to get these edges a little bright. Lights will hit it. Lately I've been really kind of out of it myself. My body just wants me to sleep all the time. Like, I'll end up crashing and I'll sleep for something stupid like 12 hours, and then I'll still want to end up like, my body's like, oh, you want a nap, right? Or and I'm like, no, I gotta get stuff done, man. And just throw my entire sleep schedule out of whack. Don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know if it's sickness or if it's diet or just the heat or whatever, but not fun to deal with. That being said, if my body wants me to sleep that much, maybe I should look into that Pokemon sleep game and see if I could at least take advantage of it, you know? I can get the edge on this. Bit of a thick highlight. Oh man, that's brutal. Are you catching up with any sleep in the day, or are you like fully just without sleep? Oh man, that's tough. You're getting to that point where your body might start just forcibly shutting down on you. I think what they call it is your body will start doing like micro sleeps where you don't even realize you're falling asleep, and you'll just like space out for a few minutes or whatever, and you're actually like lightly falling asleep. I've definitely like been there, but I know my body doesn't care for it. That being said, there'll still be times where I find myself just doing an all-nighter, and it's not even always like required. It's just my body decides, hey, it'll be good for you to stay up and do stuff, and then eventually I'm like, well, it'd be pointless to sleep now. I'll just wait till I get to a normal time to try to sleep again and try to like reset everything. It's not what people my age I think are supposed to be doing, but whatever. Good, I'm glad to hear it. And hopefully it'll be a sleep that will actually recharge you and be restful, like with little interruption, you know? I always ended up, despite like best intentions, whenever I had to like move to a new apartment, like we'd be packing for a while beforehand and everything, but I'd always end up like doing all-nighters like the night before the actual move out date and stuff. And there's been times, like there's only one time where the most recent time I actually managed to afford movers to do it, and like even then I was still like packing the more important stuff, and while the movers were there I was still finding myself like passing out on furniture and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, I can't, this is not how it's supposed to be. I don't want to accidentally break the tail or anything. Are you at least managing to stay cool? Because I know the heat's been getting to be unbearable at a lot of places. That's good. I know I mentioned in the past, like, I grew up in the desert, and I was lucky enough that my dad was actually an air conditioning mechanic by trade, so at the very least, we were able to get our AC fixed pretty quickly when it broke down and everything, which was always a blessing. Right now it's been like 94 Fahrenheit-ish. So not the worst I've experienced ever, but it's still not the greatest. Like I said, growing up, I was used to playing, yeah, exactly. When I used to be a kid, and I remember playing outside when it was well over 100 and everything, and it gets stifling. And you know, when you're used to the environment, like you're used to like drinking water all the time and getting shade and stuff, but then you get people not used to it, and they're coming down with like heat stroke, or they're just dying out in that kind of heat. And obviously you have to be careful with all the pets and everything. You gotta make sure they're taken care of. Yeah, 112 is always brutal. Yeah. Alright. No worries, man. I'm just gonna be here chilling. I appreciate talking. I'm glad you're staying cool, and I hope you get some good sleep, and hope you take good care of your little bro. Yeah, I'm the oldest in my family, and I had 4 younger siblings. And then when my dad got remarried, I gained another 5 younger step siblings, so I was definitely used to being the oldest and taking care of the youngins. You know, always tried to be a good brother, and fortunately, you know, we're all pretty similar. We didn't have bad blood between us and anything, so it was mostly just make food for everybody and then play games together. You know, sometimes we'd be stuck doing chores or something even more substantial, like parents mom or dad would recruit us to do like, you know, additions to the house or something like that, but I was very fortunate in the fact that like all my, at least direct siblings, we all have personalities that are pretty compatible with it, so we actually grew up to be friends. And I know like it is definitely not a guarantee that you'll be friends with your family members, so pretty blessed to have that. Slightly get the edges. That's quite a bit of get it in the screen for everyone. Well, those aren't as fine as I would have liked, but I don't mind it. Alright, I'm going to just pull my drink over here before switching to the next one. 1 second. Kind of a cramped space banging my knees against everything, but that happens when you're kind of lanky. Alright, I'm gonna put finished, or at least the highlighted ones over there, and it's far from finished. Okay, some more. Okay. Alright. More edge highlighting. Gotta be kind of careful with it. A little on the thin side. I'm gonna try to work with it. Getting the edge enough spot. Alright. Got this recipe from a really good painter on YouTube who does a lot of cool tutorials, and his channel name, he while ago, and this was actually the armor on the Ugman like Christmas mini or whatever, and I kind of like adapted it to try it for these nights. Okay. Tip a little bit. Drag the edge of my brush down on this bridge to try to get thin a highlight if I can. The nice thing about like mini painting for me is that like I still like to get better, and like I can see where I can get better, but I feel like this is one of the rare things where my current level of skill is enough to make me pleased with the results. Like, there are the tiers of getting better, like the professionals, there's a lot of the upper echelon of mini painting is still like a lot farther than I am. They have more brush control, a lot smoother, they take a lot more time, blah blah blah. But I can, even with all the mistakes that I can see the mistakes, but even with the mistakes, like I can put my minis together when they're all done and still be like happy with them, how they look, even if like some other people might not agree. And there's not a lot of creative things that I do that I'm at that point yet, you know. Music, I'm not good enough. Like, I want to get better at everything with music, so guitar, piano are my main instruments, and singing. Like, I definitely am nowhere near able to sing yet. So, and then on top of that, the whole idea of like creating original music, anything I would make right now, I would not be satisfied with. And the same with art. Like, I've taken art classes. I went to, my degree is actually, it's film, but it's film with a focus on animation. So I know how to do some stuff, but I can't draw to the level that I would be happy with yet. I need to sit down and practice, which unfortunately wouldn't be, I mean, this is already pushing the limits of what would be interesting on the stream. I don't think watching me practice drawing, I think that would even be a tier lower than this, because at least this I can cheat and it looks kind of presentable at the end. My drawings would not, but like I'm aware that those things are things you have to put a lot of time in to get to that level where you're good at, and I haven't yet. So I'm like, got no one to blame but myself, but just want to get the, I don't want to go a real thick line on that. off though. Oh well. It'll blend later. And I mean, I guess like there's stuff that's not as not as like traditionally creative that I'm okay with my skill level in. Like programming, obviously, I can do a lot of things in programming and I can make a lot of stuff. And I have done a lot of interesting things with it. And kind of the same, like video editing, camera stuff. But that's not quite the same as like creating original music, you know. That's the question. Fine. Lost the shadow in it. Edge highlighting these raised parts. Anyone who's not kind of familiar with minis and stuff, the idea is that this is where the light coming down from the light coming down from the sun would catch it, and it would kind of gleam off of it because this is, you know, a reflective metal material. Don't go too crazy with it. If I can. Okay. And my hands are not the most steady. You might see it shaking a bit, honestly. Which, another thing I'll have to, you know, live with, basically. Not trying to be like a surgeon or anything. There are people who do insane freestyles on this level. Like, I've seen people who just hand painted things that look like medieval tapestries at this scale, and it's just completely mind-blowing. Sorry, the angle's a little weird, but that's best working for me at the moment. Kind of help mitigate some of the hand shaking. What I'm doing is I'm like bracing myself. So my like left hand that's holding the holder that the miniature is on, that's like resting right on the table. And then my right hand that's holding the brush, I'm also resting it. Like my wrist is on the table. My pinky is resting on the holder as well. And like I'm trying to have as many points of contact as possible to try to basically stabilize it, you know? That way I can kind of have a little more control over shakiness and really fine. It's hard to see zoomed in, but like that's the size of my thumb basically. So we're working on really small scale here. Okay. Now let's get this upper part. Just these ridges. Since we're gonna add one more layer of highlight on top of these, I'm gonna take these further down. Okay. Probably stand to put a little more paint on my palette. Do that right now. I don't know if my mic's sensitive enough to pick it up, but puppy dog's working on big chew back there, chew toy, chew stick, I should say. So you hear a little bit of thunking, that's what that is. All right, let's see how this. Let's get back into focus. Ultimately, you know, find something that you enjoy doing, like the process of. You'll have stuff like this where it can be a little repetitive. And, you know, kind of where I hope like this could be a little bit helpful, where you could just pop on the stream, do your own project, have some chill music in the background. We'll talk a little bit, but like, you know, your thing is to be done, hang out, kind of forget about everything else for a while. Too much stress in your day-to-day life. Last week we had one in the chat who's knitting, relatively new to knitting, but sounded like they were making lots of progress in it. that can be the same thing over and over again, and one of those things that's perfect. Like, just have something on and going on while you're doing it without even thinking too much about it, you know? Compared to something, I know for me, if I start watching something story, if I watch a stream that is more high energy, I'm kind of gonna be drawn to like pay attention basically. I'll have to be like watching the screen and I'll stop what I'm doing because I'm too engrossed in the action on screen to be continuing on what I'm supposed to be doing. So something where you don't really have to pay attention. Look every once in a while. It's kind of nice, you know? I know people who are fortunate enough to have like friends who do this kind of stuff. They'll sometimes just all get together at one of each other's like places and have a night where they just like paint their own stuff or build their things or whatever, you know, paint nights or hobby night. I don't really have any friends that are local like that. Even then, if you go to like a Games Workshop store or any store that a lot of the like independent places that'll sell minis, they often, not always, but they often do have areas where you can paint or even learn to paint there. And sometimes it's nice to be able to just chat with people while you're doing it. Find a group that like-minded people in whatever it is that you're interested in and see if you can get together once in a while away from distractions or randos or anything along those lines. I know my model tracking's a little wonky when I'm doing this because setup's a little weird and I'm having my face looking down, so my mouth probably isn't tracking as well. So might be a little weird visually, but all the more reason to just attention. I don't need all everybody's eyes on me. Here doing my thing. I like talking to people. I like finding like-minded people or people who are interested in stuff and being able to chat with them, but at the same time, this isn't the type of stream I would recommend anyone doing if they're like, oh, I want to grow as a streamer. What would get me popular? Like this isn't gonna get you popular, but that's not the point of this. This is for the vibes, and this is also just to kind of hold me accountable. It's then basically giving me dedicated time to work on this because there's nothing saying I can't paint these on my own time, and I've often thought about it, but it's easy for me to put them off. Be like, oh, there's more important things to do. I gotta do chores, take care of pets, catch up on work, catch up on sleep. So I put aside things like this that are more personal fulfillment than anything else. Dedicating a stream to it is my way of kind of giving myself an allowance of time. Like I'm tricking myself into making it, you know, productive or making it work or whatever you would want to call it. Now it's like, oh, well, I already, you know, I'm turned it into a stream. This is technically content, so I guess I should do it. Otherwise, I would just put this off for another year, multiple years. And, you know, there's part of me that does. I should just give it all up and put it off and just give in to the depressing grind of adulthood, you know? I feel like there's nothing for you personally. You just exist to make money so other people can take your money. That's kind of a really sad way to live and stuff, and I kind of have to fight myself from just letting those depressive thoughts take over and just giving in and giving up, you know? And like this whole foray into streaming and VTubing is like essentially me just trying to enable myself in a way to do stuff for myself that, you know, otherwise wouldn't happen. Because like if you live by capitalist ideal lifestyle, you don't do anything for yourself aside from consume, you know? They just want you to spend all your time and energy grinding for the ones that own your labor efforts. You know, I would just be programming all day just so I could pay rent and come home and handle whatever issues need to be handled and sleep and repeat forever. There's not really a spot for things you personally want to do unless you make a spot for them, and that's what this streaming is supposed to be, is me making a spot for what I want to do as a person. Cheesy and as lame as that sounds, that's kind of like how I can rationalize dedicating time to myself in my head, because otherwise I just don't. Like, it's hard for me to turn off that idea of responsibility and things I need to take care of. I don't know how to relax and take a break, take a vacation, or have fun anymore, really. So like the only way I can really get myself to do anything that's not work is to kind of like create some sort of external pressure and stimuli to drive myself into doing it. So now it's like, okay, well, streamer, I make contact. Now I have to play the game I wanted to play for years and forgot to. I have to catch up minis that I've had for years. I have to play my favorite video game series that I just didn't touch for over a decade. Sad state I'm in right now. I have to trick myself into allowing myself to have the ability to, I don't know, self-care basically. But, you know, as long as it works, as long as I keep on making progress. I'm clearly never gonna be like the top for me. My vibes alone is not gonna like take me there. I'm just gonna do what I want to do, and hopefully I find people who like vibe with me and kind of feel the same way, and maybe I can kind of, you know, we could just have these moments of peace and relaxation ourselves and escape from kind of the craziness of everything. I'm gonna go grab another paper towel real quick because the one I have is. You gotta do it. Okay. Okay, back to that. Basically, off screen, I have on one side a paper towel where after I wash my brush, I kind of get rid of the excess moisture. And then on the other side, I have a wet palette, which what it is kind of like essentially a sponge with a kind of a type of paper on top of it where I can put the paint onto it and the moisture of the sponge slowly seeps through, which kind of prevents the paint from drying out too quickly, as opposed to if I just put it on like a plastic palette or something like that. So that's kind of what's going on off screen for. And now we're continuing with the edge highlighting on these horses. Slow and steady. The music completely stop or hey, pup. Does it check on you? The end of the playlist. Repeats. Turn the music back on. But I use the paint that's on my brush right now. Letting it go to So, restart the music real fast. Okay. Oh my god, I'm back again. My knees are slamming. Alright, let's try again. Grab a little more of this paint and some of the... water it a little bit. Drag my brush and I'm twisting it a little bit to try to get a fine point out of it. Let's see. Already hit this. I want to try to make sure that kind of nice, consistent. Bring my chair a little bit closer so I can kind of get to this a bit easier. Dragging it downward along this edge. Probably didn't show up on camera, but sometimes you get pieces of winter fuzz, or since I have a corgi, you always have to be mindful of just stray corgi hairs going through the air and landing on stuff. Alright. And like with this edge highlighting, where appropriate, trying to hit it with the side of the brush. A little bit easier to control. And as always, it's easier to just pull your brush downward than anything else. You get the level of control there, so that's what I'm trying to do. Rear in focus. Rear in gear. That highlights a little thick up there, but alright. Again, eventually we're gonna very lightly tint this. We're not gonna like do a thick layer of the red again. Just gonna be enough to tie it all together, but so it's not going to be as contrasty, although that is a look I could keep if I felt like it. Because this, at the end of the day, this is like artistic choice, so whatever like feels the best. There are some people who paint their minis with a very like painterly style, and that's completely like valid, and you know, it's nice to see stuff that's unique. People who paint in a unique way, and then they go, "Ooh, that's not lore accurate," and those people are just not really worth anyone's time. They kind of miss the whole point. They're stuck in the whole like lore is law, the books are everything type of thing, when they kind of miss the point of a lot of the huge aspects of this hobby. I mean, you're allowed to like the lore. You're allowed to like only like the lore if that's your thing, but you can't hold everybody who's a fan to that same standard, because that's not the only standard. This isn't just the lore. This isn't created as like Lord of the Rings, where it's only about the lore. This is kind of a game first and foremost. And even the original like game creators and stuff have talked multiple times about how fluid everything is, and how even major pieces, like there's only parts of the universe that are 100% true, and then everything else, it's like stuff to change that the creators win. Everything like they're told by unreliable narrators. The universe where people lie, people deceive, people tell stories from a victor's perspective, especially when you get to like 40k type of stuff. People are very persnickety about aspects of the lore, and the Games Workshop, they admitted like large parts of their strategy when developing the stories that all this stuff is based off of. They did stuff where they could call it closed doors. You would this I learned from, I think, the YouTube channel Jordan Sorcery, where they would set up a crumb, like a little plot hook or something, that intentionally didn't lead to anywhere. It was like a mystery. It's like, oh, this such and such group was lost or whatever, and you know, it's a little mystery that's supposed to like spark your imagination, when in reality, like, they had absolutely no plan for what that actually was. And people could speculate, and like, you know, in 40k there were the lost Primarchs and the lost Space Marine chapters, and people could speculate, oh, it's this and this and this, but it's like, when it was originally designed, they didn't have it in mind. They left it purposely closed as like both an exercise for the players to kind of like come up with their own thing, but also just like, why put themselves in a corner? They can just like tease you and then come up with it later, you know? And that might bother like people who are traditionalists, like lore people coming from stuff like Lord of the Rings, where everything is like spelled out in great detail, but that's just the way it was created. So you gotta take that kind of stuff in mind. And the truth of the matter is Games Workshop IP, whatever they like with it. And I kind of hope that like they do exciting things with things. They don't give in to the people who are like, oh, the lore says this has to be like this all the time, so that's the way it must be. Like, no, feel free to keep retconning stuff. You've done it for the last 20, 30 years. Perfectly fine. If the idea is new and exciting and would make the story better, the setting better, or the game better, there's no reason not to. Just because the lore says no. That would make me unpopular in certain circles. But it's a completely mistake. A lot of people kind of have this view of like, oh, our game is set up this way and you can't come in and from the outside and change our game, but they kind of neglect to realize that there are people who've actually been in the game longer who are perfectly fine with changes, and even then it's like not every single change in the world is done for the wrong reason. And even if they're done just to try to make more money, that's kind of the way the world works these days. That probably been in there, but I don't think it would be catching that much light behind the ear, but alright, let's work on this face a little bit. Just these ridges. Underneath. And over here. Get some more paint on my palette and that much. Gonna say water it down a little bit more so it flows smoother. But I had a little too much water on my brush. Okay. Let's see. All right. Puppy is still working on her bully stick. Have to paint some more. I don't want it separated. All right. Get some more on the brush. On the palette. Let's get a little water and thin it out a little bit. That. Okay, more highlighting. angling. I'm still allowing myself to add the stroke speed on. I know it's kind of like the same thing over and over again, which isn't the most thrilling, but that kind of happens when you're batch painting the entire unit. For like people who are not necessarily into a full game, but you want to get started on like miniature painting, might be nice to do something more like maybe finding some, like, they sell miniatures for D&D, so you can buy like a hero miniature, or you can buy any of the monsters for it, both D&D official brand and then like, you know, Pathfinder or any like third party. And so if you're dipping your toe into miniature painting and you don't have a specific game you're working towards, that's kind of a nice way to start, because then you don't have to like repeat yourself over and over again like I'm doing, working on this entire unit. And you could just focus on making one model look really, really nice. I need to get it flowing a little bit more. Watered down. The trouble. Trying to find the right balance. Should be okay. Make sure I don't have extra water on the brush. That'll like water it down mid paint stroke. Like when I first got back into painting, one of the ones I did was I just made a custom mini, I think through one of the services. It was probably like Hero Forge, and I just painted that up, and that was kind of nice to get back on track without having like an obligation to do more or expectations or anything. Like, you know, just a singular mini to practice on. And I also have like 3D printers, so I can print up some minis and stuff. Like with the resin 3D printer, like I had a basic one, and I just finally like upgraded it to a one that's a bit nicer. It's still not the highest end or highest resolution model, but it suffices for my purposes because I'm not really doing much fancier than what I'm doing. So, and 3D printing is a thing unto itself. It's its own hobby. So some people get into it, some people find it not worth the effort and would rather pay someone else to do it for them, which is 100% valid, because there is a learning curve to it. There's a lot of technical stuff. There is something kind of satisfying being able to print up a mini or print up, I mean, depending on what kind of type of printer you have. Like I've used it for cosplay stuff. I've used it for like, I made kind of a stand setup for like my audio mixing mixers, and design just random things that would help me out in my day-to-day life, and just 3D printed it up real quick without having to like jerry rig something from what I could, like MacGyver it together and have something subpar, you know? You just make exactly what you need. All right. Try to get these parts up here. Here. Flip it around. Do back side of this tail armor. Okay. Load up some more on the brush, and then start doing this head panel. A little more of this mixed together. All right. Start on this side because that's for some reason the one I'm more comfortable with. Oh, that's a little much. Why? Alright, get a little bit. Bring that back, focus a little bit more. See? If this wasn't like gonna be in a big bunch of them, I might, like if this was like a hero model, there's like I might go in and like retouch up some of the red where like this silver is filled too far, but I'm just looking for the general effect right now, honestly. Like I said, not gonna be in a competition. Nobody should really be looking this closely after I'm done with them. Side. Try to angle it a little bit better. This going all the way over here. Real thin line. lightly hit these rivets. Really lightly. This top edge over here. Again, where the light would catch it the most. Over here and up top on here. Okay. Fine for now. All right, halfway through this initial round of highlights. Slow and steady progress. All right. Now this front panel. I'm gonna add a okay. Okay. Back in focus. Yeah, and like this level of highlighting, whether it's worth it to do on every single mini is obviously up to personal taste. Some people will say this effect isn't really worth the time and effort if you're doing like an entire army, which is completely fair on it. I get it. It's a lot. Off. I can more down. But I mean, you could definitely see how it adds contrast, and when you're looking at these from far away, the contrast is definitely helpful to kind of visually define the edges and the sharp elements and everything. Let's rotate. Focus still, okay. Edge. If I was trying to paint these lines without any, like just with my hand, it would definitely be a lot more shaky and stuff. So like it's definitely the trick of gliding it where it's barely touching and gliding it along the edge of that raised detail is what's allowing me to kind of follow along in a controlled manner. Okay. Lights and pivots. Alright, now let's get this horse armor, the tail armor. Okay, and now this side. Okay, now we got the face part, or the neck and armor panels. Get this lower one. Focus properly. You got an itch, puppy? Alright, hold on. Where's your itch? Okay. Just don't want you to bump the tripod, of course. That helps. Alright, let's get you back in focus. Let's see if my pressure. No matter, my girl. Alright. Face and focus, please. Go. Part here. Alright, let's flip around to this side. Get this main armor again. Gotta get a good angle so I can try to hit this evenly. More of my brush, looking a little thin now. Let me get this lower. that. Gotta get this face. All right. Making our way through. So, shrink. Most of the moisture on the brush. Maybe a little tiny touch. And load up the brush again with some highlight color. And let's drag and twist the brush to try to get a nice fine point on it. And get her in focus. Alright, here we go. Little. Okay. A little thick, I meant my line that I drew. Paint itself is kind of on the watery side, but not so much that I have to add more paint to it, I think. It's usable, it's flowing nicely. Flowed nice enough that I put more down than I intended. Okay. Along the bottom. Highlighting these edges. Anyway, trying to keep my brush as controlled as possible. But that I'm having as many like points of contact with my hand and stuff, so I don't give it much room to even like shake out of the way. Wipe some of the excess away. This way. Rivet again. Alright, now we're gonna move to this back side. I know I'm starting to feel that itch where I want to brush through them, and that's gonna make me a little more sloppy, I'm sure. Okay. It is what it is. For this next part, I'll do the underside. Over here in the center of the frame, and try to drag down to the top. Yeah. Edge on here. Stuff. Another one. Bottom edge. boy. Okay. Like I want it to flow smooth enough, and then I want to load my brush up enough that it doesn't, dry too quickly and run out, so I can kind of get into a rhythm and flow with this. So then dragging down top. These rivets. And see if okay. Not the greatest. Try a bead of water on my brush. I'm gonna get that off the brush before it makes its way to the paint. Okay. Kind of a thick highlight, but that's okay. Alright. Almost finished armor panels on this one. Alright, now we will get the little part that covers the top of the horse tail. Flip it over. Good. Alright, let's try these top panels across the horse's mane. Gotta get back into the little screen for now. Hard to stay on top of every little. Okay, on this side. Get focused. Brush. Spray on me. Inside. Okay, now we're gonna get that over here. Focus for be right about there. All right, let's try the face of the horse. Just the ridges, really. Flip it around. Other side in focus for you. Cool. It's a few more left on this level. Do some brush care at some point. I have this brush soap that I can use to kind of clean out the brushes and reshape the tips to try to maintain a sharp tip on these brushes, which is helpful when you're, you know, trying to do the fine details. All right. On to the next, another one. It's not too watery, it's just not mixed well enough. Put more on the palette. We'll see. Leave it. Finally, I haven't been doing super well, but you know, practice makes perfect. Get better and better over time. Alright. Back half in focus. Back on the set. A little up top. That thing. Okay. Back focus over here. Bottom. Trying to push this further than I. Going. And let's try to get these tailpiece. That's fine enough. Let's get the head in focus and let's again get all these little tiny holes. Oh my goodness, has my painting thing been stuck this entire time? Well, that's annoying. Let me refresh my camera. Hold on. Figure out what's going on, really. Now there's basically nobody here, so it was gonna tell me anything, but that's kind of a bummer because my monitor has been fine. Just on my stream itself, it looks like it's been frozen for a while. Refresh it. Play with all these settings. Embarrassing, actually. Still trying to figure this out. I'm trying to get the cables and figure out exactly what's going on with the issue on here. Apologize. Live technical debugging. Okay, let's see. Lord. Lovely. Come on. Oh, what a pain. Okay. Fully come back up. Okay. Must have been stuck like that for a while. I deeply apologize. I made a boring stream even more boring. Well, we only got 2 more of these to highlight, and we'll see if my camera gets stuck again. A little bit of water. Get back in focus. Look how she is. Adding highlights. Little tiny divots. Okay. Going through and edge highlighting each of the panels. Doing for the past, what, hour or so? No. Okay. And this does like the wet when the paint is wet, it is like a lot brighter than when it dries, so the contrast is stronger, so it's definitely like it tones down a little bit between wet and dry state, but we are gonna blend it to make it even more subtle, even though contrast is good for readability. Especially at a distance. Okay. Okay. put a little more on my brush. A little smoother flow off of it since I'm running a little low on. This edge here. Side. Now we're gonna do this little part where the tail would get covered. Flipping it around. Okay, now we're gonna have some more panels on the horse's mane. Getting these brand. Get this a little more centered. A thin line between the panels. Of course, up. Okay. Figure out. Gosh. Try to hit the rivets. And now it's kind of liquidy, so a lot runs off and kind of overwhelms the rivets, unfortunately. But a little bit on the face. Top edge above the eye. It would catch the most. Flip it around. And let's try to get these armor panels again up here. A little more on here. Okay. Focus. out there. Kind of failing, kind of succeeding. I'm my best. Edge. Alright, and see, can I get the horse back in focus? Face. Right over here. And these rivets. Okay. Good enough. One more to do. Let's take a look then. Go for it. Okay. And get that focus for you. This is the last one I'm doing this level on, and then we're going to do some dot highlights, and then we're going to tint it to tie it all together, and then this armor. Except for when we inevitably mess it up. Alright. See if I have enough on my wet palette to last me to the end of this, or if I need to get a tiny bit more, which is likely, honestly. A little thick. The rivets. Can I get back when I focus? Yeah, I'm getting sloppy. But that's okay. I'm okay with a little sloppy. Again, I'm not striving for perfection. It'd be nice if I was a perfect painter, but I'm not. Trying to get good enough. Find out a technique and seeing if I'll get better in the future. They're still gonna look 1,000 times better than if they were just plain gray. This. All right. Focus, seemingly. Okay. Focus. I know I'm casting a shadow. Alright. Gotta get this tail armor. Wait. Flip it around. Sweet. Alright, now just the neck and face. Is the paint I'm using. Drag this edge here. I hit these rivets. Bring it up here. Okay. Alright. Gotta get the angle right on here. Coming through a little bit thin. Can I get a little bit more of this? A little bit of water. Okay. Rivet. Alright, now let's try to get this face. Just the highest edges. Okay, gotta get much here. C'est la vie. Okay, we want this. Alright. And focus on the face again. Okay. Yep, hitting these high edges. Where the light get it. Sweet. Alright, this layer of highlighting is done. Now we're going to do some dot highlights with the silver. And then we're going to blend it all in with some red after that. But then the armor will be considered done. Except for when I mess it up eventually. But inadvertently, I should say. I'm not intending to mess it up, but... Alright. This should be really quicker because I'm not going to do as much. It's going to be the tip top highlight. Get some on my wet palette. Creamy. Definitely water that down a little bit. Okay. Got this. nice kind of a milky texture, melted ice cream maybe, whatever they say it is. There's not excess moisture on the brush. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pick the highest points and get it on there. So this is gonna be kind of hard to differentiate. Gonna get the basically where I think light will be the strongest. Right over here. All the corners where the corners meet, they're gonna get little dots. This is not gonna look too much different than the optic alloy, honestly, but I'm gonna try to be quicker about this. So I like the middle with the pure silver. Glimmers of it. Here, tip. And I'm gonna kind of focus this towards the top. So let's on the main part. I'm gonna get it over the middle part. Let's try to get a little more on this brush so it flows nice. Alright, and get that back in focus. So we're gonna do kind of these tips here. And then if we can get back in focus here, try to start hitting rivets very lightly. And the rivets worth it, but let me try getting these corners over here beneath the rivets. Up. Right is fine. Over here. Okay. It's not gonna be very much per, and it's not gonna be super distinguishing. It's all gonna be very subtle, and I don't even know if this camera is good enough to pick it up in this lighting situation. But we'll continue on, and I'll try to make it kind of quickish. Alright, so highest point. Like this. Get good consistency on this silver, I think. Alright, yeah, that's kind of a little gnarly. I'm gonna have to fix that with the red. Not that bad though. Okay, let's get these edges. Focus. Okay, and then we're gonna again just kind of focus on the center line of these. Kind of the same on the main. The light, but get it the most. Okay. That into section. Flip it around. The corners again. Here. Okay. Quick and dirty, really. Alright, let's keep it on with this. Flip it around. These bright, where it kind of bumps up, that's where I feel like the light would most. Could be wrong, but that's where I'm going with. Hitting it with a little pure silver. And when I hit the corner, panels. And now we're gonna hit this top down part. Ooh, break my brush. Get more anyways. Alright. Okay, let's get this back in focus. Very tops, where the light would catch it. Okay, and now I try to hit these corners. Kind of get that centered in your view. Trying to get the corners without like ruining too much of the like rivet shadow. It's there. Exactly as I said it. Get it up here in the center. Try again. Reflections and light would catch the most. Here, that one. Okay. Okay. These areas. I'm definitely kind of like wanting to move on to the next step and everything, so definitely not being as careful as I could be with this, but that's fine. Kind of things where you know, perfection and of progress. Spend all your time trying to make everything perfect, you just won't get the time and the place for perfection, but I'm not gonna do that here. I'm just gonna keep on working on what I'm working on, you know? Getting these tips. And we're gonna get the very tops of this. Silver highlight on the top. And gonna get it on this part in focus. Gonna do the same on the armor that goes over the main. Come on. Gotta adjust the focus again. Okay. All right. Now I gotta try to. Won't make much difference. Kind of make a mess already. Okay. shadows got lost. I'll survive. Center on top of the versus and above the eye. Okay. All right. Going. Really hard to see a difference between the silver and the canoptic alloy. Front. Alright, I'm gonna just hit the little dot highlights. Bottom. Alright, and then I'm gonna hit the tops of this. Just hit. Came up here. Okay. Alright, so now we're just gonna hit these edges right where the corners meet, honestly. Tips. Here. This tip. This corner, this corner. Alright, let's get left that. I'm just trying to gun through these. Get about halfway through them with this dot highlight step. Okay, take a look. Paint. A little bit of water to thin it. All right. Let's not trying to hear. Get comfortable again. Yeah. Silver in the brightest areas. Focus the back part a little. thicker than it, but they're not stable right now. Thinner. Get that in focus. I'm gonna hit the dot highlights on the bottom tips. Panel meets. Full. Dot. All right, now we're gonna hit the center panel line. And then we're gonna do it on the front main armor. Okay, and then here, hit corner. Kind of be. Okay, on the mask, I'm gonna hit it also here. Corners here. Mask. All right. Dirty and dirty. Go. Don't focus. Seems like it. Really. Okay. I'll load up my brush again and then do the dot highlights. You can kind of tell it's all about kind of like layers of subtlety and building up stuff. All right, do adult. More dots now. Okay. All the tips. Hey, Poppy Seeds, how have you been? Hope you've been well. Trying to get in focus over here. idea how it might look all said and done, but yep, I've been spending a lot of time on these horses, probably more than is reasonable considering how small they are, but glad to hear you're doing well. I'm pretty much, I'm trying to do these little tiny dot, like little tiny bit highlights, and then I'm going to blend them in a little bit more with the red, and then the red armor is basically going to be done, and then I can actually work on different parts of it. But that's kind of been a bit of a process to get going with it, but I've been taking my time and just, you know, trying to get in a little bit of a zen state with it. A favorite model. I've done a handful of them. Let me see if I can get it in screen, actually. There's been a couple interesting ones. I actually did paint up a dragon, but I gave that to a friend of mine as a gift. So I unfortunately don't have that on me, but let me see if I could grab one of the other things I've done in output. Okay. Yeah. She was a dungeon master, and I had one of my older 3D printers, and I got it, and I was kind of at the start of the pandemic, so I printed up a dragon, like a green dragon, and she could use it in her D&D games. But so let's see if I can bring this into, so I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. So this is an old model that, like, I did it like years ago, so the painting isn't super great on it, but it's pretty, I just think it's neat. It's kind of like it's a steam tank, so the idea is it's like a steam powered, like iron cannon behemoth type of thing, which is kind of a fun concept thing. So that's part of like the same army. Yeah. And I should probably like eventually glue it all together, but it's got like a bunch of details on the inside, and I think that guy I finally glued in, but yeah, he's I can get him in focus. He's got like a little hand shotgun as well, but firing tanks and stuff. So that's definitely fun. Yeah, but it also, like, in game, it comes with a risk because it's so powerful. It also has the chance where it could like just break down or blow itself up or whatever. And I think while it's zoomed out, I'll show. This is like the other set of knights I completed. So let's see if I can get the focus on here. So this is like a full amount of them together. So these ones are kind of more traditional silver armor colored and everything. So you got like the leader, and then the musician, and the flag bearer, and then you got like the standard, all the lances and everything, which are pretty cool. Yeah. And then, you know, I kind of went all out and added the little textures to the bases, and the bases are actually magnetized, so they don't come out very easily. And I put them, they're on a tray, so they don't, I can like move them around a bit easier without having to mess with it and stuff. So yeah, it's that's kind of why I like. So like they aren't like the best painted in the world, but like when you see them in a nice big group together, it's kind of like fun and impressive. Yeah, I can take them off, so I can at least take them out of here. So if I take, yeah, each of them are individual things that I can take off, and I painted them individually like I'm doing with these, and then kind of assembled them all together. So eventually, yeah, when the ones I'm working on are all done, it'll be nice to have like 2 sets of all the knights side by side and everything. Like, let me move this out of the way for now, but like this is kind of the big standard bearer guy for it. Adjust the focus a little bit. Yeah, so it's definitely neat, kind of something I just put a lot of effort into it. And oh no, not yeah, it's this particular game, it's yeah, those are just like units. So yeah, you would play on like a rather large table that I think generally it's like 4 feet by 6 feet, and depending on how big a game you want, they have rules that can determine how many different units you have. But so that entire group of knights would be 1 unit, and you'd also have like a unit, like different amounts of units, and it's kind of you maneuver them across the table and can use them to like attack each other and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty interesting, and you know, different games have different ideas and concepts and stuff. And then on a more random type of thing, let's see if I can get this back in focus. This was just a random custom character from I did off of I think it was Hero Forge. I had them printed, like made and printed through there, and then just painted them up. So it's kind of a more modern day type of thing. Just a guy with a guitar, hoodie, backpack. Tried to make it look like he had jeans. Add a little bit of texture to it, but I don't think the texture really came through as much. But yeah, so a lot of nice little neat things. Yeah, a little bit, right? Especially with the hair and the beard, and not too dissimilar from, you know, like my model, but he's a little more shaggy and stuff, and I can definitely get like that in real life. But yeah, so I don't know, definitely a kind of a fun hobby I've been enjoying for a minute now. See, got all that stuff. Yeah, when I like first got into like this particular game and stuff, all my siblings kind of also fell into it, and they all started collecting their own. So eventually I'd like to have us all like have our fully painted armies and have like a nice, I don't know, vacation together where we can all play together and kind of fulfill the dreams that we had when we first got them that we never got to fulfill because life kept on getting in the way, you know? But oh, I know, puppy. What are you barking at? Is it like someone outside? Hey, you okay? Oh my goodness. Hey, you okay? Why? I know. Hey, you okay? You want a snack? Would a snack calm you down? Yeah, you're definitely looking at me like that'll help you out. I think go grab you one. Here you go. Here you go, my puppy girl. Alright, can I sit down now? You're kind of right where I want to sit. It's okay, you can eat. Yeah, I was saying earlier, like, these might not be necessarily the most exciting streams, but I've kind of been, well, streaming in general, I've been kind of using it as an excuse to do things for myself that I've been putting off for a while. Because I find it kind of hard to always set aside time to do personal hobbies or fulfillment or stuff, and as silly as it sounds, it's like, I mean, I like streaming and I'd like to, you know, find a community and people to chat with and everything, and only people who are like-minded and stuff, but at the same time, at the very least, it's like I'm tricking myself into, I guess, self-care or whatever. It's like, oh, finally, you know, it's for content. You actually can play that game you've wanted to for months or years, and catch up on those minis that you haven't painted in forever, and, you know, otherwise it's so easy to like push away, you know, like time that you would otherwise set for yourself, because there's always stuff to do, there's always like work to catch up on, there's always, like, in my case, you know, pets to take care of, or chores that need to be done, or things that need to be fixed, or yeah, I'm a procrastinator too. And like, for me, I always have like an internal list of, like, kind of priority list, and I kind of feel like I always have a backlog, and even when I have time available, I'm like, could be doing this instead. Why would I waste the time like relaxing? Like, it's difficult for me to just let it go and like enjoy myself and enjoy my time and stuff. So trying to change that just a little bit, you know. Especially, I mean, I have a bit of the ADD, like depression and stuff like that, so trying to stay focused all the time is definitely a challenge. You get overwhelmed and you just want to put things off and deal with it later. Completely understandable. Get this back up. Focus. Do you yourself stream, Poppy? Or are you just you know, an enjoyer of streams? Yeah. That's understandable. definitely something to work towards. I had a potato PC for the longest time, and even the one I have now, it's like okay, but it's definitely not like top of the line. It's just enough to get me by. Like I got it, I think 2020 or so, and so like obviously that's when the graphic cards prices were going crazy, and it was just a pre-built one, and I just had nothing more important at the time to spend money on. But now it's like, you know, it's hard because they are expensive to, and it's always a gamble whether it's gonna, you're still gonna need to upgrade other stuff, or your internet will be good enough, whatever. Alright, that's probably enough for this one for now. And like I could stand to get some upgrades to my own computer, but even then it's like there's kind of more important things if I have money available to spend on outstanding bills and yeah, I have seen that one. And Polka's great. She is insanely entertaining. And I like how much, I don't know, like kind of everything she is, she's like entertaining, but then she's also, you can tell she really has like a soft spot for like all the Ian girls too, even though like she's not fluent in English too, but she still wants to be like a part of it and everything. And it's just like she seems like such a sweet streamer, sweet person in general, you know, sweet and funny. Hololive is definitely how I fell into the VTubing scene and rabbit hole and everything. Those clips and everything. I think it was probably a little bit after Ian first debuted, but then I got kind of exposed to every aspect of it, and then I started expanding beyond all that. But before that, like, I was still thinking about I wasn't sure about streaming. I was most of my experience was, or not experience, but like most of what I watched was YouTubers up until that point. So I thought about like just trying to do YouTube videos, and I didn't really consider streaming until I came across VTubing, and that caught my interest enough that I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll give it a shot. That is always I mean, when I went to college, I was always a fan of animation in general, and my college degree is actually in like filmmaking and animation, but I never really did anything with it. I kind of taught myself programming and oh, thank you. Yeah, I definitely like the chill streams myself. Like I really like all the really chill art streams, and too like Ina is like a gold standard in the Hololive, where like whenever she does an art stream and stuff. Yeah, I what's funny is like that's actually what I kind of consider myself best at, was like editing and like After Effects, like 2D, or it's like kind of like I did a little bit of 3D animation and like, but a lot of like motion graphics, so stuff like with like titles flying around and stuff like that was what I was best at, because I wanted to do more like traditional type of animation, but I need to practice my art a lot more to get as good as I wanted to be. So I never got over that hurdle. But yeah, I liked being an editor. I liked being camera work. Like I knew people who, you know, they go into that kind of filmmaking stuff and they're like, oh yeah, I want to be a director or a writer and stuff. And that wasn't as much me. I was very much, I wanted to be making this, like I wanted to be hands-on. Like I liked working, I liked my own ideas, but I also liked working on other people's ideas, you know? So like if somebody else had an idea, like me figuring out how to put it together or edit it together, and or how to get the best camera shots and stuff, that kind of stuff was always very interesting to me, and I always liked that kind of stuff. Yeah. I mean, what's nice is that it's so much more accessible these days. Like there's a lot of good resources out there to learn, and there's a lot, tools are a lot easier to get than they used to be. And really, like, I mean, yeah, even if you're amateur, you can still make like good, decent stuff with like basic cuts and basic audio, and like, you know, as editing is one of those things where like you can, well, you know, if you look at a lot of like Instagram and TikTok, there's some with like really flashy editing, but good editing could also be like invisible, where you don't notice it, you know, where it's just like seamless and subtle. So there's definitely a lot of like variety to it, and you can, you know, it's one of those things where you can create good and decent stuff at a like a lower skill level, and still like learn more and get better, and still be making good stuff all along the way, you know. Now, memes are fun though. I definitely enjoy consuming memes. I wish I had my brain sharp enough to be coming up with new memes, and or being able to at least creative spins on meme ideas and copy pastas and stuff like that. But hats off to anyone who pulls that off. I mean, like, memes open doors for people these days, you know? Like, but that's okay. Oh, rotoscope, yeah, that's definitely a time-consuming process, and a lot of people don't realize how much effort goes into good rotoscoping. So, hats off to you. And they keep on making tools to try to like make it easier and stuff, but at the end of the day, you still have to like put in some effort to do it, you know? You still because even the best tools can't cover every single situation, and you sometimes you still have to just start doing it manually. And what's interesting is like, I mean, that's how a lot of classic stuff was. I mean, that's how a lot of stuff was handled back in the day. And what was it, like the very first Prince of Persia game for, I think, like the Apple II, I think, or maybe it was the Apple Macintosh or whatever. But yeah, all the character animations in there were actually like rotoscoped. Like, I think the main programmer's brother was like, he was either a martial artist or like a gymnast or something. So like a lot of the jumps and the like pulling up from ledges and stuff, they went and they actually got the video of him doing that, and then they made the character sprites by rotoscoping those animations, and they had to simplify it a little bit, but at the time, like, you know, this was what, like early 90s or something, like nobody else was doing that in games and stuff. Oh yeah, if you're a perfectionist, yeah, and you're looking at, and you're so zoomed in, you're looking at every single pixel, right? You're trying to say, oh, the mask is a little bit off there, and everything, yeah. What software do you use to do that? That's the other nice thing, is like a lot of this video stuff, all the software used to be very expensive to use. Yeah, yep. After Effects is like my go-to software too. It's kind of become the de facto standard with a lot of stuff. And yeah, like Adobe's kind of made it more affordable-ish with their like subscriptions and stuff. But yeah, you used to, like, if you wanted the Master Suite, like, you'll still end up paying a lot over time because the subscription is forever. But yeah, they would want hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a license, and then you'd have to buy it again each new version that came out. Then there's other companies that had even more expensive software out there, and now it's kind of been more open. And especially, I mean, Adobe definitely saw that, oh, people are making stuff for YouTube and social media, so if we lower the barrier of entry, more people are going to use our software, which was kind of the right move, I think. But yeah, I mean, After Effects is a big one for a lot of stuff. It kind of, like, if you're good in After Effects, there's a lot of jobs out there in like companies and studios. And then other software they use is kind of like more niche on specific, because I've heard there's like Nuke is more, because like After Effects has a lot of strong points in a lot of different aspects, and because it's good for both the motion graphics and like good for the compositing and stuff. And then other softwares kind of become more specialized in different areas of it. Like I think Nuke is more focused solely on the compositing, so bringing in all the different assets, and then like something like there's like DaVinci Resolve can do a lot of stuff, but it's a lot more about like color correction and grading and stuff. But and then there was some like professional level software that used to cost like thousands of dollars, and I don't think they're that common anymore in the industry. I think people just got used to using stuff like After Effects, honestly. But okay, so now I wanted to get my reds out because I wanted to tint these stuff. But then like the people who are doing the animations, there's a couple different softwares that like Toon Boom, I think, has been kind of a common one for the people who are actually like drawing on the computers and stuff. But yeah, basically this is fine. Yeah, that was kind of like one of my, if I ever get rich and didn't have to work anymore, dreams, it would be like, okay, then I'll just sit down and pay all the money to get the lessons and stuff to learn to draw as well as I want to, and then I'd sit down and just spend my days working on making an animated film like I wanted to. But I don't think I could do that while maintaining a job and life, basically. I have to get trying to mix colors while think and talk at the same time. But yeah, what was kind of also interesting was that I went to, when I ended up getting both an associate's degree and a bachelor's degree. So like I got the associate's degree first at my local community college, and it was like one of the bigger community colleges in the country. And I kind of went there first because I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to a university, and I also heard that they were a lot more hands-on than my university, local university was. So I'd actually get to make stuff rather than like just sitting in like theory classes and all that stupid stuff. So I went there for my first degree, and we did like the animation and stuff, and they taught us, we had classes in a lot of different stuff, and we had like video and we did some animation and stuff. But they actually also, I don't think they have it anymore, and because this was already really outdated by the time I went there. Because I went, I'm not talking about like the 80s or 90s, this was like well into the 2000s, but yeah, no worries. But they still had a class for film where we had to basically get 16 millimeter film and use a film camera and make movies like that, like the old ways. And there was no place in our state that could like develop 16 millimeter film still. So like as part of it, we had to like send off our films to like a place in California that could still develop them, which was kind of a insane experience. But I want to mix all this I'm working on lightly tinting this. Let's see if I got enough. Wanna this be thin enough? I might need to thin it down more. It was pretty fun, and it is a different experience too, because like you gotta like figure out your lighting and your stuff, because you won't be able to see the shots until you get it developed. So you have to really kind of plan what you're doing out a little bit more than just what you do normally on videos. So, and they actually had like the ability to edit it, where editing film, you literally cut the film and you tape the two pieces together. So it is neat, because you can then kind of learn where a lot of like even the icons in the editing programs, like the razor blade to cut the timeline, it's like, oh, that's because, you know, it actually cut the film strips back in the day. But it's definitely so much slower that it's good that you don't have to deal with it as much anymore. You just, film is so much quicker to, or video is so much quicker to work with, and editing on the computer and everything is just a nicer experience overall. Okay, I think I need it a bit thicker than that. Okay, this is gonna be a bit tough. Just trying to now and pulling up. Yeah. Okay. I think I overestimated how much this would fit, but that's okay. Just work on adding this thread back in. Yeah, and it's kind of, it's interesting to see how kind of the development of just social media and like YouTube getting popular, and it's like, oh, you know, all this stuff I was studying is now like, now everybody's like, you know, tools are becoming available. Everybody's gonna be video editing and stuff, and I wasn't sure how to feel about that at first, but over time I'm like, you know what, it's kind of nice to, like, especially with the development of meme culture and like the way ideas spread these days, where, you know, people kind of like build off of each other and they remix ideas and things evolve and they grow. It's I don't know, I kind of like it. I wish copyright laws weren't stuck in just corporate anachronistic hell. Like, I wish they would kind of evolve to be more friendly to modern day usage, because that's kind of a big pain in the ass. But yeah. Yeah, good old VHS tapes. That was kind of like my first experience with any of it. I remember like getting a hold of my family's VHS tape or VHS camera and running around with like my friends and making stuff with it. But yeah, and then yeah, as far as like fixing stuff, yeah, I definitely relate to that. My family was also like, oh, you okay, puppy? You need help? I hope that helped a little bit. She bumped the camera because she was trying to get an itch. But yeah, we weren't like very well off anyways. We were kind of a big family, so trying to support a big family on just a normal salary, we didn't really have funds and stuff to replace things, so it was very much a matter of trying to get things fixed and trying to make do with what we had. So I definitely adopted a similar mentality of just like wanting to see if I can get things working again, and I guess it's also my nature of trying to be that type of fixing person. Okay, I'll give you some booty scritches, okay, Rain? Okay, puppy? Here, I'm gonna go get your brush. Maybe that one will help you. Come here, girl. Here. Nice. Girl. Gonna help. Girl. Someday I'll figure out how to just put puppy. Everybody will watch. You know, they love all the brushing. Itch. Help me. Girl. Yep, exactly. Tinkerers. I know, puppy. Are you okay? Here. You didn't eat your stick? Yeah. You okay? Alright, where did I fall in on this? I think I got that side. Yeah, that's kind of how I ended up in my main job as a I'm actually a programmer, is because, well, I mean, I always had a little bit of an interest in programming in general, but what really kind of pushed it was way back in the day I had some friends that wanted to start a webcomic, and you know, one of them was kind of more of a writer, and one of them was definitely the artist. And I was like, you know, I don't mind figuring out the website stuff of it. And I kind of taught myself enough to like get the website up and running, and then I kind of constantly tinkered with it and then made my own website, and then got a job doing it locally, and it eventually evolved into a point where I taught myself enough programming that I just, after college, I was like, okay, well, I'm looking for video jobs, but I've also been programming, making like websites and stuff long enough that I can also look for those types of jobs. how I ended up doing that. Just kind of literally became a self-taught programmer. It's a nice, like, tinkerer. Being a tinkerer in general is kind of nice because it's a part of your brain that it's like this problem. Yeah, right. Exactly. You really develop this kind of like problem-solving mindset, and kind of you see it happen. Like it kind of applies to like a bunch of different things. Like you get in your brain, you have to figure out, like, okay, you learn how something works enough to figure out what's wrong with it, and then you figure out how to like fix it beyond there. And then that really kind of mentality applies to so many things, like, yeah, programming, or even just like how to like get your computer to stop doing a weird thing, or how to fix your car, or how to even like less mechanical or something, like how to if you're doing something more crafty, or like working with like fabrics, or kind of approaching anything with kind of a more problem solving approach, is something that you kind of start to take to granted. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, the trouble with like computers and stuff is that it's one of those things where there's a lot of knowledge based on top of other knowledge, there's like layers to it where you can use a computer and not know details of Windows, or not know details of the Mac system, or not know low-level stuff, and it's completely understandable. Honestly, it's like not everybody who drives a car is going to know how to fix a car and everything. It's neither here nor there, really. But some people, at the same time, there are people, when something goes wrong, they just shut down. Like, they don't know what to do ever in any situation, like computer or not. They're just like, oh, I don't know what to do, I can't do anything. And then there's people who are like, I don't know what to do, let me try to figure out what to do. Like, those two different mindsets are kind of interesting when you come across. It's like, oh yeah, people are wired different ways. You don't really think about it too often, but it does happen. Yeah, I kind of came from an interesting environment where, like, I don't know, my dad was an air conditioning mechanic as his job, but he was very much like just a hands-on, tinkerer, fixer type of guy. And my mom was craftsy and more artsy, and for at least the beginning part of her life, she was like a stay-at-home mom, but she herself went to school for like graphic design and stuff, so she at least had that part of her. So we had kind of like two different influences growing up, but for some reason, me and my siblings almost all ended up very heavily interested and involved with computers to various degrees. Oh my goodness. pulling up too much. Yeah. It's crazy when you start doing something professionally, just how much knowledge you build up over the years. And I was kind of that way with my programming, and I realized like I know all this niche stuff about programming, and I realized that like, yeah, there's people who, you know, they're like lawyers or they're like tax people or whatever, and they do that for, you know, 10 years or whatever, and they know all these weird, very specific things that you would have never known. And then I would think about it and I'm like, man, if I spent that 10 years like drawing instead, like I'd be so good at drawing. But that wouldn't have paid my bills the same way. Like, you know, so you can't resent it too much. But yeah, you don't really think, I mean, some people do pick up stuff really fast, but time really is kind of like a factor. There's just the time. If you do something for long enough, you almost always just inevitably learn more and more, and you don't realize how much you learn until you talk to someone who like doesn't have that same level of skill that you've developed over time or whatever. Like even something like you're amateur about, at like if you talk to someone who has no experience in it, like they can still be like mind blown about whatever you're doing or whatever you're talking about, you know, because it's like just you forget the skill gulfs, the differences between that kind of stuff. Yeah, right. All the NFT stuff is true. Man, that was wild. I think all the NFT bros like moved on to trying to like push all the various AI stuff now, which isn't really fun either. But yeah. Yeah, that is a thing, huh? It's like all the times you think about, hey, if I just wasn't as good a person, I could have made a lot of money or something, you know. Not Yep. Crypto bros became NFT bros, became AI bros. It's all a circle of life. And like there's like me being in kind of like the tech world, like there are people who kind of hop in on it. They're like, oh, this is gonna be like a big thing and we should build businesses around it and stuff. And it's like, I'm like, I have to stay informed enough to know like what's going on, and I'm like, I don't think this is a good idea. And so far nothing's really panned out. And with this AI stuff, like the stuff they're trying to do with AI is not the stuff, I mean, it's the evil capitalist stuff that they're trying to do with it now. That's not great. I was trying to keep this in focus as much as possible. Like I heard part of this, like the writer's strike and actor's strike is a, you know, they're trying to put into contracts about taking their words and their likenesses and images and being able to feed them into AI so they can basically use their stuff in the future without having to compensate them. And There was already a story about a book publisher trying to do that with a writer and in their book contract, and like you can build AI tools without stealing copyrighted stuff and build tools that are actually helpful to people rather than just tools that take away people's jobs. But the people who make money want the ones that take away jobs. Yeah. Yeah, I could totally. That's the thing is, something like that is like totally feasible, and like me personally, I could physically sit down and do that, and I would know where to get all the stuff for it and where to post it and sell it and stuff. But yeah, I don't want to be that person. I feel like, I mean, I know for me, and there's a lot of people I know who are at a point where it's like the level of rich that we want to be is just, we want to be rich enough that we just don't have to worry ever about bills and housing and medical expenses anymore. You know, it's like most of the people I know just want that level of financial security. They're not aiming for Lamborghinis or something stupid like that. And like, you know, I'd be willing to give up on personal fortune if I could, you know, make it so not like less people in the world have to struggle. Like if we were all just not having to struggle for money and just could live comfortably, like you figure after being on this planet for thousands of years and with how technologically advanced we are and how many smart people are out there, if we actually like put an effort into it, it's completely feasible. There's no reason not to. Oh yeah. All the Lamborghinis in my Hollywood Hills. I mean, if you're obviously familiar with the memes, the meme culture. Those are hands down some of my favorite. Like, do those qualify as YouTube poop style edits? Because those Ty Lopez memes were just like amazing back in the day. I absolutely love them. Those were great. Those Ty Lopez memes, if they weren't on it, it was just like that and watching the important videos playlist on YouTube. That was all just meme videos. Those were formative. Formative, I guess. The proper way to put that. I wasn't being dumb right now. I have 47 Lamborghinis in my Lamborghini account. I mean, there really should be like a proper way to immortalize stuff like that. So good. One day I met him. More important. I haven't been a VTuber super long. Few months now, I think. I was like trying to start for a while and just kept on having to push it back. But yeah, I think probably maybe when did I start? Probably around April or so. So I'm still relatively new to everything. And I've still been kind of taking it easy. Like I'm only streaming like 3 days a week so far, and nothing super intense. But eventually, I might pick it up more now that I've kind of gotten into a rhythm with it, and try to play the game a little bit more, be a proper online personality, I guess. I don't know. But actually, I'm when you said you like chill streamers, just chill streams, that kind of actually really makes me glad, because I'm definitely, that's kind of the vibe I like to have. I don't, overall, I'm just kind of a chill person, and I want to have that kind of environment. I don't want to, I'm not gonna try to put on a facade or anything anyways, but especially with how insane the world can get these days, like, I'd rather have a place where people can just relax and chill and not have to be stressed out or lose their mind all the time or anything like that, you know? Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I could definitely stand to do some more marketing, and I right now I haven't been very active on like Twitter, and I've actually been kind of kicking around in my head about stuff to do. Like I've had some ideas for maybe like some short videos or something like that that I could put together. Maybe, I don't know if I straight up do full memes or anything like that, but maybe some more marketing, and then I might swap out, either do a different stream or add another stream day where I do a different type of content a little bit, but yeah, that's what I figure. There's probably a lot of people that kind of have the same vibes and the same interests, and it's just a matter of like getting them to know, like getting their awareness and seeing if I'm the type of personality that they particularly vibe with. And like right now, it's like I have one stream where I'm painting, and then I have one stream where I'm playing my old like RPG games, and then like the one stream in the middle, I'm kind of like mixing it up with other stuff. But I'm not exactly sure, but I might like either add another day, or maybe that middle stream I'll start playing games that like are a little more modern or maybe accessible, or something that people can kind of be more of a part of easier than some of this esoteric content that I have. I haven't decided yet, but trying to get ideas together. Yeah, for sure. I know some people who like, yeah, I definitely like to talk with people and meet some new people. And I know some people in real life who are actually considering maybe getting into VTubing themselves if they ever do. Maybe that'd be an easy way to collab. But even outside of that, it's like, yeah, it'd be nice to kind of explore different things along those lines. And honestly, like, I'm a bit introverted myself, but that being said, like, I feel like if I'm with the right people, I honestly like it's a lot of fun, and I like vibe really well, and like I've had a lot of people, I don't know, seem like they have a really good time with me. Like they're like, oh wow, I didn't know, you know, oh you're really fun or funny or whatever, you're usually so quiet, I had no idea. And I'm like, yeah, I'm usually kind of a little withdrawn, but if I found like some regular people or whatever, like find the right circumstance to open up, it could be something nice, you know? And definitely like, you know, everybody, like D&D is so big and popular these days. There's all sorts of people playing campaigns, and I run a few myself, just like, you know, offline. I don't like push them online. They're just like friends and family stuff. But didn't know you're chill like that. Yeah. Bruh. There was a, I could come off a little, it seems weird to say out loud, because when you kind of say stuff about what other people compliment you, it sounds almost egotistical, and it's not. But like the one that stood out to me was just like, there's a point where I was at a job, and like, you know, it was kind of an office job, but it was like an open floor plan in there. There's one point where someone told me, they're like, you know, Dan, Odin, you're just like always just sitting there and you don't really say much, but then when you do say something, it's just insanely like hilarious or whatever, and it's just like there's times like that where like when I, if I'm vibing with people, I can kind of, you know, go back and forth and shoot the shit pretty well in kind of an improv-y way, because like especially in high school, like my friends were all very improv people, so we would go back and forth, and it's harder to do in a solo stream where you're like, you're just talking about yourself or talking in general, and I'm, especially as an introvert, you don't really have a ton to talk about, but when somebody else has something to talk about and you can bounce off ideas and stuff like that, it's easier to build something fun and energetic. And that's why I like stuff like D&D, because you have like your whole role-playing type of community and stuff. You're building stories together, and you can kind of all build up. If you're doing like the whole yes and thing, you can kind of end up to a point where you got this whole crazy story going on that ends up really nice and fun and cool. Yep, I have plushies too, honestly. I tend to be I don't have a ton, but and I've tried to hold back because I know I only have so much space, but I have a couple Pokemon specifically, and then I gave in and I buy some of the select Hololive ones when they come up on sale and stuff. I'd say so. It's not a lot, but I'd say 20 to 30, maybe more. But that's the current amount I have. Because let's see, I have at least all the small Hololive EN members, and then I got all the council mascots. So those right there are all like at least 10, and then the Pokemon ones and the Sonolite bread. So yeah. Yeah, I managed to get them firsthand, and yeah, they are expensive. So I kind of try to only get ones that I like aesthetically, even if my collector part of me wants more. I'm like, only if you really, really like them. But yeah, so but yeah, they can get pricey. Hopefully, fortunately, they don't show up too often, but and it's been growing over a long-ish period of time. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's definitely helpful. I don't know where I would get. Yeah, I don't go out enough to find good deals on stuff, and my eBay foo is not as good anymore. People always like want to overcharge for things nowadays. Are most of your plushies from like yeah, there you go. Do you collect a particular type, or do you just find things that you like aesthetically? Oh my gosh, puppy. Do you need to go out soon? Okay, I'll take you out in a little bit. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Alright, well actually it looks like, let's see. this out. Okay. Oh, nice. Murder drones. Not sure if I'm familiar with that. I'll have to look that up. Hello, puppy. What did I just knock down? Okay. There you go. Okay. Yep, she wants to be vocal. Oh, yeah, sorry, I just bounced over there. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to start wrapping it up because I think she wants to go to use the bathroom. So I think that'll be it. But I also I wasn't familiar with murder drones, so I just Googled and looked up the plushes, and those are actually really, really cute. So, but yeah, I think I'll end up wrapping it up here. Yeah, you have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for chatting. And I'm glad, you know, it's definitely nice having you. Nice having someone to talk with while I'm painting. And hope you got some work done in your room. And yep, you have a good night. You take care. And thanks to everyone else, anybody else who was lurking. I hope you all have a good night. And I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye for now.